Hello everybody, 大家好. Today we are here with Jasmin Battista from European Commission that is going to tell us which kind of new policies or which is the European Union point of view concerning e-commerce. So Jasmin, welcome to the first EU Cross-Border E-Commerce Forum. So first of all, could you introduce us to our audience what European Commission is doing and which kind of new policies or new decisions the Commission is going to put on to boost the e-commerce in Eurozone, sorry.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. So I work in DG Connect in the unit e-commerce and platforms, and we are the team that has been driving a bit the digital single market, which was the digital strategy that was put in place by our old commission, which just finished their job to promote e-commerce across borders. So what we basically did was we have some directives and rules in place. Some of them are quite old, but we tried to adopt other rules in order to tackle the main barriers of selling cross borders in general in the European Union. And we tried to do this with harmonizing some consumer rules in order to ensure that traders don't have it too difficult to cross the borders, but also discussions on VAT and how to file the complaints, how to simplify their system there, the delivery, the different points that that are really relevant in order to cross the border and provide your services or your product not only in the member state where the customer is, but also somewhere else. And we have been doing that through different also legislation that we have promoted. The two ones are quite new. The geo-blocking regulation that was sort of preventing a discrimination online on the basis of nationality or residence, and the platforms to business regulation, which is the world's first regulation on platforms, to put some general principles to ensure that there's a level playing field, that the platform behaves well with the business that is depending on it. So indeed, we have a very much pro-European e-commerce and international discussions on this for e-commerce, for the platform's role, and we really want to make it as simple as possible to sell cross-border inside the European Union and outside. And we have been also discussing a lot in international fora, in our bilateral negotiations, in trade agreements, to ensure also that the principles that we preach inside should also apply across the board.
Thank you. And another question is about Belt and Road Initiative. As you know, Beijing is investing a lot in this new strategy. But some countries, some in particular people inside the European Union think it could be a strength for local economies. Do you think that is a new kind of engine to boost cross-border e-commerce between East and West, or we should take much more control in this Belt and Road Initiative?
Thank you. So on this one, I mean, I think international cooperation on e-commerce, as I was saying before, is really crucial, and we have to work a lot in this. We have to invest in this. So how we do it then is a matter, of course, of discussion, and we have to see and find the best way. This initiative is one of the ways, and in reality it concerns different aspects, from infrastructure to many other discussions that are ongoing. So for me, it's about finding a way of getting good cooperation between East and West on e-commerce and in general, and finding the right tools for it. So I remember, I think Šefčovič also talked about this and said it would be good to have also more transparency, just to ensure that also the businesses see really what is behind there and in which direction to go. So for me, I think there is some efforts to be done from both sides in order to make it work. To make this or some other system work, be it called road belt or be it called other in another way. But the main principle is that we should indeed find ways to work well together, and that everyone has to do its part and ensure also that there's a level playing field between the parties on this.
And now let's talk about e-commerce trends. Now China is exporting a new e-commerce trend such as live streaming or social commerce, and some platforms such as Facebook is starting to copy China. Do you think this new kind of dialogue between China and West countries could be could give a much more improvement to e-commerce, or maybe not?
Sure. So for me, in reality, e-commerce is a sector where you need constant innovation, and where by default and by definition, it's a very fast evolving market. So to be on top of new developments that make in reality e-commerce easier and more successful and more easy, that's what the customer is really after, is totally essential. So in my view, in reality, what is extremely important in this is to be open to any kind of innovative solution, and to have indeed an open mind about what changing the market, because also we have it with some retailers who are sort of trying to oppose a bit the digital transformation. I don't think we can oppose the digital transformation. It's a process that is ongoing, and that is good in reality for what is coming. E-commerce and will develop, and it's giving new opportunities, easier ways to get products. So there's a lot of positive elements in that, and having new technologies which help you to do that more effectively inside an omni-channel shop with the new different technologies, or through different technologies that are used in order to do practice e-commerce, I think is extremely important. So indeed, I see that some new developments can be taken over. Certainly, it's interesting to look at them, and indeed, I predict that they will be used also here, as well as other things which are developed here will be used in other parts of the world. So indeed, we have to be open to new technologies and having in mind of trying what is best in order to improve and modernize the system.
So about this, what's your opinion for 2020? What's your expectation for next year?
My expectation for next year. So I mean, it's a safe expectation that e-commerce will continue to grow, and that it will increase business opportunities, also very much across at international level. Indeed, the cross-border element is growing substantially every year, partly through the measures we have adopted at EU level inside the EU, partly because of just the exponential nature of the system and the markets. And I think this trend will go on, and we will continue to try to make it as easy as possible to sell cross-border, to ensure that in reality there is a level playing field, that there are similar rules applying to online and offline models of commerce. E-commerce now is practically commerce at a general level. We can more talk about digital trade in reality, because there's a digital dimension in most of the commerce that is done, that is carried out. And I think really the international dimension is extremely important, and that's what we have been also trying to convey at all the WTO negotiations on e-commerce that involves 80 countries, and therefore where promoting e-commerce at a very large level would be very beneficial, as well as on making the rules that we have inside the EU, but which apply also outside the EU as far as a EU company or consumer is involved, to make that as easy as possible to practice e-commerce at large scale and take ripe of all the opportunities it presents.
So thanks, Jasmin, for your intervent, and what else? See you next year for next EU Cross-Border E-Commerce Forum.
Thank you.
Thank you.